Having an assistant is more common than you think. 64% of executives have an executive assistant. And when there's so much going on in your life, it becomes absolutely necessary. That's why Magic makes it incredibly easy to get a dedicated virtual executive assistant, an assistant who will change your life. See for yourself and learn more at getmagic.com.
Increase your profit and work less time with Kittl, a genius new AI tool which is perfect for print on demand. You can conquer any niche you choose. All you need is a good idea.
No, it does different on every platform. Every platform is different. You need to do different shit. So I write books about this shit.
This is an algorithm problem. Wow.
No, it's a you problem, Sarah. You're the problem. We've been talking about this for fucking decades. I used to have black hair when I talked about this shit. Now I have gray hair. Tyler, I wrote Jab, Jab, Jab in 2012. No, it's not an algorithm problem. It's a you problem. You're supposed to do slightly different content. The first 3 seconds, the thumbnail, the copy, the edit. You think LinkedIn's like TikTok? How the fuck have you not been listening?
I'm at a point right now where I really want to start expanding out, and I have so many ideas, as you do as well. And I guess my question is, I don't have like a team that can execute every single idea that I have. What do you recommend, like the process you go through to like choosing what ideas to specifically focus on?
Sean, how long have you watched my content?
Since like 2016 when you were yelling that could have been a fucking bus.
Yeah, so that's 9 years ago. Back then I had 5 or 6 people on my team or whatever it was. Like it's one at a time, brother. Pick one of the ideas you want. And look, I've been seeing you've been glowing up like heavy, right? Which means there's an opportunity for you. The biggest mistake that creators like you make is they spend the money they make on dumb shit, not reinvest it in their business.
I did that for the first 3 years of like making money.
Think about that. So in those 3 years, you could have been pouring it into employees. Like think about how many people see you doing tricks with Charli D'Amelio and this and that and all the cool shit you do that would want to work for you for minimum wage. They'd rather work for you and hustle on social than work at Wendy's. Do you know how many employees right now between 16 and 22 work at Wendy's and Target and Walmart and a car wash and random ass fucking places that would break their arm to make the same per hour working for you, doing whatever? And do you know how many of those kids are actually talented? 5 to 10%. And you may have this video with me and hire the wrong kid and have to fire them 6 months later or 3 months later. But like, you need to invest in a team, brother.
Yeah.
You have to stop.
I mean, I gotta be so real with you. Like, I've done everything, like pretty much everything myself. And so it's like that next part. And
it makes sense to me. You've been spending your money on fucking Air Force Ones and trips and fucking jewelry and fucking whatever the fuck you're buying.
Yeah, you're right. But I also like, it's like when I look at all these other YouTubers, when they get to the next pinnacle of like what they want to do, it's like everybody has a team. And now it's like very small.
Bro, I did my own stuff all by myself from 2006 to 2014. 8 years. 8 years. I don't know what people think this game is. It's a fucking marathon. Everyone's going to realize that I was right about the patience thing. Everyone's going to realize I was right about you're 50, you're still young. People can make fun along the way. Do you know I get fucking 50 messages a day, basically people swallowing their pride and being like, you were right about this, that, the other thing? And it's not because I'm right, brother. I'm just speaking wisdom OG shit. All those 90-year-olds that I hung out with my whole life, because that's what I did, weirdly, they taught me this shit. I'm not a fucking smart. I just spoke to old people, not my grandparents. Maybe because I didn't only have, honestly, maybe because I only had one grandparent because everyone died. You know, it was that Russia shit. Everyone died young. Like, I'm not smart. I just listened to old people who lived. All of us are so obsessed with the youth right now. Everybody wants to look young. Everybody wants to think 22-year-olds are fucking whiz kids on AI and social. We're all fucking putting 22-year-olds on a pedestal, and we're shitting on 90-year-olds. They're old, they don't get it, they don't understand technology. Ha ha ha, grandma doesn't know how to use TikTok. Motherfuckers, they know how to live life. You don't know shit. Oh, who's the winner? Natalie, California Selling. Let's clap it up for Natalie. So when you're talking to me about being a creator and being a businessman, well, guess what? I've been doing it every single day since February 21st, 2006. And before I did that, I built a business every single day from 1994 to 2006. I lived it. That's why it's so easy for me to tell you. That's the answer, my guy. And, you know, doing it by yourself, of course. Everyone does it by themselves. Logan did it by himself. Charlie did it by herself. Everybody did it by themselves until they didn't. Some people buy Lambos and some people invest in their business.
That's so real.
As real as it fucking gets, my guy.
What if, like, I read, like, ideas, I'm just, like, so passionate, and I just believe in
Flip
all
a
of them.
coin. Flip a coin. I do too. When I did VeeFriends, I had all sorts of other things. One of them was to create an AI influencer. Now I'm getting around to that now after I did the VeeFriends thing. You got to pick one. What are you going to lay in bed and debate the rest of your life? Pick one. Flip a fucking coin.
Gary, you're so real, bro, and I
love you, bro.
appreciate you for that, bro. Thank you.
Bro, action. Just remember that. Only action by balancing humility and confidence and self-esteem. You know what? Sometimes people struggle with me because they think I'm a contradiction, right? Like, you know, like one time I'm like, care about it, what everybody says, and then I'm like, don't give a fuck, like, and they're a little confused. That's actually life. Like, life is figuring out how to balance opposing energies. How do I do that? Mackenzie, I take feedback all day. I listen to all sorts of shit. And equally, I'm completely, utterly confident and don't give a fuck about what anybody says. And they're both easy. And sometimes I choose this, and sometimes I choose that. You know, by learning how to balance, the biggest problem for most people is that they're so black and white. Black and white and rigid and binary is fucking all of you up. I posted something yesterday. I noticed one of the comments on my Instagram was, well, this doesn't work all the time. No shit, dick. Nothing on earth works all the time. Not one thing on earth works all the time. What thing works all the time? Maybe love. Deploying love might work all the time. But anyway, nonetheless, you know, very easily, Mackenzie, by deciding which one is right in the moment.
Sometimes that
Confident. It's not working. You're getting feedback. Fuck them. You wake up 18 months later, it's not working. Maybe it wasn't fuck them. Maybe you were delusional. Feedback. Fuck them. Boom, I exploded. I was right. They were wrong. Both happen.
I work for a B2B tooling distribution business, a cutting tool distribution business. We're a small family-run company. There's 9 employees. We're literally right around the corner from the juggernaut of the state, which has like 200 employees. What would you do if you were coming here as an outside tooling salesman day one today to grow and scale this company?
The David and Goliath story is always a lot of fun for me because that's what my situation was when I went to my dad's liquor store. And I think it's alternative marketing. And I really do believe the stuff I talk about, brother, is what it comes down to. So I'd probably first, my favorite B2B move is to start a podcast and interview the people that we want to be clients, right? So you got the behemoth next to you, and you've got you, and you pretty much know how many. Do you know how many target clients the company has?
Our company,
Yeah, like what do you think? Like the target is like how many potential clients do you guys have?
there's thousands in the state. You know, there's in manufacturing, we've got a lot of medical device manufacturers. We've got all sorts of different manufacturing in the state. So there's thousands of businesses.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very heavy
in my bio on TikTok.
LinkedIn DMing messages that are really not spammy. And I think the best way to not be spammy is to provide value versus asking them to buy things from you. And I think the first thing I would do if I was an outside salesman is be a salesman and a marketer and say, hey, I really want to start a podcast and I want to interview the biggest realtor. Adrian says, how does that help? It helps because you start conversations with potential clients that aren't starting with like, hey, I'd like you to buy from me. It's more like, hey, I'd like to make content and potentially get you exposure. You know, I've given this advice pretty consistently and I've gotten so many, I mean, literally emails every single week from very small companies who've been able to get business by just even inviting someone to the podcast, let alone even doing the podcast. So I think that's number one.
I don't know. I'm thinking about
I would also think about AI SEO.
Thumbs down
So
on
I
the
think
podcast.
getting ahead of the next search
What's that
engine
do it
is a
about?
big play. The next thing I would do is convince the company to spend some money on starting
Working on that one.
yeah, there's that, which is hard on a 9-person company, which is why I love social. Like my first piece of advice doesn't cost any money. You can record it all
But then
online.
you're doing a podcast.
My second one costs a little money, which is starting to work with a startup to get
Not
your
sure.
company to be the first
Maybe
result
I should do one
when
on
people
life
do
event.
AI chatbots and are starting to move away from Google. Does your business get business from Google
Or
results?
date,
We get
today's date
some
cool for
business.
everybody. This is my
Most of
day.
it right now is, literally, door-to-door cold
Yeah,
calling.
Yeah, of course,
You know,
sales. You're a sales organization, like any B2B company is, which is, again, why I'm bringing up
Tap the screen,
the
share.
first point, because I
thumbs
think
up,
it's the
thumbs
best
down.
version of cold calling. Cold calling and saying, do you want to be on my podcast to tell your business's story or your career story, converts dramatically better than cold calling and saying, buy my fucking tools or my toolkit or what have you. You understand?
Yeah. Yes.
Even if you have no audience, even if you have,
Appreciate that.
like it's amazing because none of these people ever get asked to be on podcasts.
Mhm.
So they're just thrilled
Control
to do
the
it, or for the content, right? It's a production day. So that would be the move,
Yeah.
brother. That to me is the killer move in the game right now. I do think if you've got for everybody else who's watching, if you've got a couple of bucks, starting to figure out that chatbots, ChatGPT, all this stuff, chat assistants, they're going to be giving results to queries. Actually, watch this. Everybody in all of my social and on Whatnot, if you are now using ChatGPT, Perplexity, other AI things to do things you used to do on Google, say me. And, I think that when you see look at all these me's in the chat, it's literally,
Yeah.
it's absurd. Yeah, I mean, I think that that's right, brother. It's content, free content on social, especially in LinkedIn for you based on your business is the way to go. But also cold call outreach for the podcast.
Okay, cold call outreach for the podcast. Just one last thing. Do you see any space for our company to be doing anything on Whatnot or TikTok Shop or anything like that?
I don't. I think I don't.
Okay, I
Not
didn't
yet.
think so, but I wanted to ask the question anyways.
Not yet. I appreciate the question. I think it's cool, but I don't think it's right for you per se.
You're
Just yet.
supposed
No
to
shit,
be,
Sarah.
ain't
I've been talking about this for a
business,
fucking
you're
decade.
Talking about business, you really
Literally,
ain't
Craig. I've been talking about this for a decade. No shit, it does different on every platform. Every platform's different. You need to do different shit. That's why I write fucking books about this shit.
Is this an algorithm problem?
No, it's a you fucking problem, Sarah. You're the fucking problem.
I
How
don't
the fuck have you not been listening?
know. My company ended at the
We've been
black.
talking about this for fucking decades. I used to have black hair when I talked about this shit. I had black hair, now gray hair. Tyler, I'm still talking about the same shit. I wrote Jab, Jab, Jab in 2012. Came out in 13 or 14 or whatever the fuck it came out. Jesus fucking Christ. No, it's not an algorithm problem. It's a you problem. You're supposed to do slightly different content. The first 3 seconds, the thumbnail, the copy, the edit. You think LinkedIn's like TikTok? Sarah, is her name Sarah? Sarah? Jesus Christ.
I am 78 years old. I've been on social media for 4 years and 6 months. My friends tell me to quit because I should have 1,000 followers, but I enjoy helping and guiding others. Advice.
I really have nothing else.
Fuck your friends,
As if
man, your
friends'
friend.
opinions on your lack
Tell
of
you
followers on
quit.
social should strip you of doing something that makes you happy. As if, Tessa. Tessa, I need you
Those
to
are friends,
get
y'all
a,
keep those,
actually, Tessa, I'm
man.
gonna be prescriptive about this.
Someone
I want you
tell
to gather
quit,
the friends.
man.
You know this, Mackenzie, it's probably 2 friends. But if it's 6, I want you to do a group text FaceTime. I want you to get them all on, wait for that black
So
screen
it's
to
your
go into a
enemies
human,
that tell you
and when
what
they're
you
all
want.
on, or if you're doing like
So
the,
it's
the
bad
early
shit.
bird special with them,
The
if it's like
fuck?
5 p.m. and you guys are going to dinner in fucking
I don't have
Florida,
1,000
I want you to
followers,
sit down,
my
be like,
friends said I should
friends,
quit.
I need you to just,
What?
I just have one thing to say
But I
before we start
enjoy
this
it.
dinner. I spoke to my friend Gary Vee,
The fuck?
and I just want you all to know, you need to shut the fuck up. Yes. 5 years is too long. Yes, it sounds like it's a bad idea. 5 years is
Tell
too
them,
long.
Barry. Yeah.
I mean, look, if you're happy, then good. If you're happy, the answer is always keep going. If you're making $83,000 a year and you live paycheck to paycheck, but you're extremely happy because you like your work-life balance and you just like, you're good. You can deal with the stress of paycheck to paycheck. It seems fine. It's normal. Well, then keep doing it. But if your business hasn't gotten traction in 5 years, your business blows. Mackenzie, do you know how some people make a small fortune? by starting with a large fortune. There are many people who inherit money, or they come up with some sort of insurance scam and they pretend somebody hit them and their neck fake hurts and they get $1 million. And then they think they're somebody smart and clever, and then they lose money because they suck at business. Or they're good at corporate and made $1 million a year in corporate, and then they start a business, a flower shop, and they lose $100,000 a year, but they don't care because they started with $1 million. Some people create small, fortunes. Exactly. Preston said my business hasn't gotten more traction in 15 years, but Preston says more traction, which means it has enough traction for it to be viable.
Yeah.
It's some people don't get traction. They got to go get a job or start a new business. But happiness over everything.
Amazon
Tessa, what did
giving you
Tessa
more
say?
traction
She said, I have
today,
told them to
still
shut the
be
fuck up. Now
valuable.
I'm enjoying myself meeting new and amazing people who I teach on the 5 pillars of prosperity.
That's right, Tessa. Let's clap it up for Tessa.
I'm building the brand up, so I'm trying to be myself. But the one thing I've
You
always
wonder why
struggled with
I'm leaning
is
to the side,
kind of
it's
self-esteem
TikTok frowns
and
upon the way I
really
take my
being
meds.
truly who I am to myself. And I'm worried that if I really am trying to connect with
So I'm
people
trying to keep
online,
it, I guess,
but I might
lower
say
than
the wrong
PG
thing, I might
for
offend them,
TikTok.
then they're less likely to buy a word search
Just a little- just
for
like
their
that.
child or for themselves, because I might have said something that upsets them, but I still want to be as authentic as I can be.
Brother, when you're being
without knowing what their
authentic-
opinion's going to be and how they're going to
Yeah,
feel like.
when you're being authentic, when you're saying you're scared you're going to offend them, do you have the intent to be offensive? Are you being political? Are you trying to hurt people's feelings?
Oh, no, I'm just being myself. I'm being honest. Like I'm literally completely being myself. But some people sort of like, for example, one thing I was on Threads today, and I love just like looking through what people say on Threads, and someone put something about people's attitudes, and I was thinking, I really just felt so funny, like saying like, people that say they aren't morning people or are just using that as an excuse to be miserable in the morning. And I thought, I just say that because that's my opinion. I'm not trying to offend anybody.
Were
I'm
you
worried that
just
if I have
were you
five
just
people
were
talking
you
by my
were
words,
you
then-
were you were you just
Fuck
watching
man.
the show where I gave Tessa advice for her friends? That was the
We
one a
in
few
the
minutes ago where I
South
said
Bay area, drizzle,
to
drizzle.
Tessa
Goddamn,
to tell her
we
friends
still
to
talk.
go shut the fuck up. Did you see that part?
Right, okay, right.
I believe that there's
Yeah.
a lot of people right now, my brother,
Okay.
who don't know my 20 years of kind content, who just showed up randomly on TikTok. Literally at the moment where I was like, they didn't get any context before. They literally came in live on TikTok or on Instagram or on YouTube or on whatnot.
That's
And all they
crazy.
heard from me, the
Dude,
only thing they
wow.
heard from me was me saying, Tessa,
Dude,
tell your
Grace
friends to
drizzle,
shut
nah,
the fuck
thumbs
up.
Thumbs down.
I have a funny feeling.
Which I actually agree
That's
with.
some-
When you were saying that,
That's all I need.
when you were
bro.
saying
We
that, I was
ain't gotta
like,
do
yes,
all
exactly. But
conversations
why
if
am
you
I
don't
so
want
worried
to.
about doing it myself?
Thumbs
That's what I
up,
don't
thumbs
get.
down.
Well, because you're
That's what I
insecure.
don't understand. I'm
Well, you're insecure. You're
Yes,
insecure.
I am. And
That's
yes,
okay.
I am.
By the way, we are all insecure in
Right.
certain things. If I had to go fight right now
Right.
in the octagon against Dustin, right? Dustin on my team, who like I believe, and he's like, this is tough because I think he has some good tenacity too, but I feel I have more tenacity and I would have a lot more to lose, right? Let's say this was live streamed and like, if I get knocked out, that's a meme, like that becomes my reputation. I would be insecure because I'm aware that he has put in
Social
work
media, this shit.
into fighting that I haven't put in, right? He's been putting in the work. And I believe that if me and Dustin today went in the octagon, unless I land a lucky punch,
Right.
he's probably going to win. And that means right before the bell rang,
Nah,
or like right, hear me out on this, brother. I would be insecure. I'm allowed to be
Yeah.
insecure because I'm a human being. And everyone, now I'm not insecure in being online, selling, being a businessman, being out there and being having notoriety. So I just need you to understand you're allowed to be insecure about this, but that's what's holding you back. And I don't know why, the way that you grew up, your life, your circumstances, you're going to have to work at that, whether it's therapy, meditation, watching this video over and over, like you've got to break the habit.
So it's just about doing it every day and just dealing with the anxiety and not worry so much and just not letting you overthink it. Just do it anyway.
You know what?
Basically.
Brother, I love that you said that. That was so well said. Do you know what life's about? Do you know what actual life is about?
Having fun, enjoying yourself. before
Yes,
you
but
die.
the way to, that's right. And you know how you do that? By every person on this call and everybody on my team who's listening right now to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Hey,
Life is binarily about being comfortable with being uncomfortable. This is why I love sports so much. Do you know why I like competition? Because when you lose, you learn how to deal with losing. What has happened over the last 30 years
what is that?
is that people have tried to over-coddle us and protect us from everything. That is not
What we
real.
talking about, Gary?
My mum did that a
The
lot when I
way-
was
That
younger,
shit somewhere else.
so I know
It makes sense.
how to deal with certain parts of adversity.
Even when we fall, we
And by the
learn.
way,
We fall
I love
forward,
your
we
mother
don't
for
lose,
that.
though.
It was well intended. She tried to do that because she loves you more than everything. You understand that, right?
Yes, it was. Yeah, I completely understand. Like, because of my dyspraxia and my lack of knowledge of things and my own problems in having understanding of like life problems, she kind of did a lot for me. But in the same realm of that, I kind of feel like it hindered me because I lacked the ability
But let me-
to know how
that
to
makes sense,
approach
but-
difficult conversations.
Hey, y'all
It
don't
makes
forget to
sense.
tap
It
that
makes
screen.
sense. Let me ask you a question. How old are you?
Appreciate y'all
Yeah.
tuning in to YouTube. I don't
How old
have
are you
a
right
chat
now?
right now, but
35,
when I start getting more
35.
fluidity
Amazing.
or whatever,
I have great news.
I get more people in
You
there.
are now
I'll start
grown,
checking the chat.
and what your mother misstepped on, you can now fix. You are not allowed anymore at
That's why
35.
I've actually tried to let
Yep.
it out.
I'm saying I'm fucking proud of you, and I feel like you're heading in the right direction.
I'm actually trying to start more confronting people about things that I disagree with and not worry too much about whether or not that disturbs the peace between us.
If you do it
There's a
kindly,
way to practice getting better at
I'm
not
proud of
worrying
you.
about
I'm proud of
people.
you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
Right.
I started the Career Flipper podcast. I interview people about their weird career changes. I want to turn both my podcast and furniture flipping into my full-time job. How do you advise people like me who are juggling multiple things to create one unified brand?
I think it's one unified brand. You know, I don't see anything different about being a furniture flipper and a podcaster. Being a podcaster is an overlay like oxygen around everything. Everybody is a podcaster that is podcasting around being either a creator, an influencer. Jenny, I think you're
no.
beating yourself up or making it more
Not
complicated than it is. I'm a podcaster. I'm also a million other things. I'm the creator of VeeFriends. I'm the CEO of VaynerMedia. I'm a partner of Vayner Sports. I'm a content creator, winetext.com, and a million other things. I don't have to go into it. So I think that it is a cohesive brand. People doing academia on themselves when they're just living. If you want to get paid to speak, if you want to do other things, it's very easy. Put out content and let the demand come to you. I would be crushing LinkedIn content. I'd be crushing TikTok content and every other platform for that matter.
I don't post anything inappropriate or work-related. They just don't like me posting online. I don't want to quit or be fired, but I also don't want to give up making content I like. Any advice?
Keep doing it until they fire you. I mean, what do you, I mean, I don't know, like, what do you want me to do? Like, what I'd probably do is in parallel, find a job for a different company similar to the one that I'm at. So I would actively be looking for another job. I would be actively continuing to post, and hopefully they don't fire you and before that you get big enough to bounce. It's just real life. And if you get fired, don't blame me. Be fucking accountable. That's what I would do. But if you get fired, don't blame me. Like, then because I love when people are like, well, Gary, I don't want to do that because I might get fired. I'm like, good, then stop doing it. Like, people are obsessed with cake and eat it too when they're not in control. You're not in control. You work for someone. Everyone's not in control to something. I'm like really in control and I'm not in control. Like, if the US is like, I'm taking away your citizenship, then I can't live here. Shit happens. Life is life. I don't know.
Well, I have a pet products brand. I'm a canine herbalist and I make organic skincare for dogs with sensitivities, allergies.
Very cool.
I'm working really hard. Thank you. I'm working really hard to build up my social media. I've started a YouTube channel and I'm launching a podcast. I start recording this week.
Amazing.
It's going to be called The Natural Dog Mum, and it's all about educating pet parents about natural health and wellness for their animals, fresh feeding, those sorts of things. So I'm really excited
Right,
about it.
clean, non-chemical, all that stuff that actually leads to this, right?
Yes.
How many TikToks a day does your pet brand or you post for this business?
Nowhere near enough, and that's one of
Thank
the
you for
first
the
things
likes,
I'll be
B, honey.
fixing starting
Appreciate it.
next week. Once I've started
That's not-
filming,
that's-
I'll be.
Just tap the screen, that's
No
all
worries.
you
Hold
gotta
on.
do, dog.
How many?
Yeah, not daily, barely even weekly. I've been very slack. I'm correcting that.
So, my dear, a TikTok strategy for you in Australia. Well, so Vader Media does a lot of business in Australia. We have 100 employees out in Australia. I know that market extremely well. Way more important than a YouTube channel is for you to go all in on TikTok. And you don't need to have a podcast.
I'm about to do that.
Why haven't you done it?
Well, for the last couple of months, it's because I've been dealing with, I've had to rewrite all of my marketing and website copy, delete half of my social media posts, and rename and redesign a bunch of products because I was flagged by the APVMA, which is the animal equivalent of the Therapeutic Goods Administration here. They sent me a very scary letter and flagged 12 of my formulations. So I have been flat chat, tried to sort that out so that I
Makes
don't
sense.
get
That I
fined hundreds of
respect.
thousands of dollars or
Yeah.
get sent to jail.
Yeah, you don't want to go to jail. You definitely don't want to
That's
do
the-
that. I
So
get
No,
it.
that's the only
That I
issue
understand.
I feel is
That,
legitimate.
that's valid. That's valid. So listen,
Yeah.
before you go, you must, and I mean you must, win on TikTok over any other platform
Yeah.
because it's the one place where I feel like you have the likelihood of getting a post that changes the course of your career.
Absolutely, and I want to get into TikTok Shop when it hits Australia, so I need to build up my followers.
I need you all in on that, okay?
Man.
Please do me a favor. Go to
Yep, I'm going to do
GaryVee.com.
that daily.
Go to GaryVee.com/attention. Yeah, it's literally, honestly, I'm not even asking people to buy the new book, Day Trading Attention. I literally condensed it to the best of my ability to a free deck. Free. I don't even,
No,
don't even buy
I
the $15 book. It's free.
It's great.
Real loud, like.
Okay, great.
No,
Then
it's
use it as a,
great, and I bought the book as well.
thank you. Well, then now execute because reading about push-ups does nothing. So it sounds like you're ready.
Yep.
And let's get to work and make sure your strategy is
Absolutely.
TikTok first, everything else second, okay?
Reading about push-ups
It will be. What about LinkedIn though?
Start doing
No.
push-ups.
Because most of my business is wholesale. I sell to grooming
I
centers,
see.
retail,
I see.
vets.
I see. Then yes. Now that I understand that it's not DTC only, yes, that too. And really, I was wrong to say no. The answer is always yes. You should be like, I'm just worried you're a one-woman show and can't get to everything. The answer is always yes.
Yes, I am.
You know, as many hours as you're willing to put into it and as many places you're willing to post, that's actually the answer to the
Answer
quiz.
is always yes.
I was being overly empathetic, which allowed
But
me to
what
create
sort
it
of
smooth for you.
content on LinkedIn?
Hey, wholesalers, if you want to buy,
What kind of content on LinkedIn?
hey, fucking wholesalers, you want to buy clean shit so dogs aren't fucking itchy? I've got the shit for you. It's me. I'm fucking here. Buy my shit. You can't. I mean, you could make t-shirts and hats to like build up your brand, but like, guys, TikTok Shop is retail. Just because TikTok Shop is good, like you can go on it, but like you're not gonna sell fucking real estate on it. You don't need to. What are you gonna give TikTok 11% of your real estate deal? Guys, when you sell on TikTok, you give up 11%. The fuck are you gonna do? Give up 11% of your fucking real estate deal?
Hey,
Guys, don't force shit.
Good morning.
TikTok Shop is for selling shit. If you don't sell shit, just go live stream. Go live. You don't need TikTok Shop. The end. If you don't sell shit, something physical, you can make up something physical like a hat. I just did. We sold them. They're sold out. I made a fucking hat. I'm a human. I made a hat. I think employees come in different shapes and sizes. I think jobs within your company come in different shapes and sizes. If I have a universal one when I'm interviewing, I'm looking for self-awareness and confidence. I think an insecure employee is political and fucks up the culture, regardless of what she or he does. So if you're self-aware, if you know who you are and you know who you're not, you tend to be a little bit more confident as well. And the more confident you are, the less you're dealing with your own insecurities, and the less you're dealing with like Karen in accounting is ruining me, or like Johnny's like. You think about, I'm looking at King Gary, like when somebody's getting shine, are you happy for them or are you upset because you're like, fuck, I'm not getting shine? Like it's a mindset, it's life. And so that is 100% what I look for, self-awareness and really just a general self-esteem. I would go with the double self-esteem and self-awareness turn out to be tremendous. Yeah, I don't think they're even close to I assume corporate life is in your own organization.
Thank you for the likes.
Find out from them if you see their question. Anybody? Who asked the question? Today in space. Verify this for me. I'll have my team, Mason Braden, they'll look for this. When you say corporation versus corporation, like intermedia versus, movers and shakers, the agency, or are you talking about like within each other, within the corporation competition? Because if it's VaynerMedia versus Ogilvy, I like it just like sports. Why not win?
Hey, appreciate
it. I love competition. I think Competitive Clown is one of the most important V-friends, and I can't wait to develop him. I really can't. Because I think modern parenting has fucked us up with trying to demonize competition. If you demonize competition, you're demonizing life. You demonize competition, you're about to raise an insecure child. You demonize competition, you're about to raise an indifferent child. And indifference leads to depression. Do you guys know that indifference leads to depression? If you don't think anything matters, the fuck do you think your life's gonna be? All right, let's keep it going. Actually, let's give something away for free.
Yeah,
here we go.
That, man.
Fuck it. All of you that are in Whatnot, I'm giving you something away for free. A signed Happy Hermit Crab slab that's signed by me right there in the green, my favorite, and it's a CGC 10. Corso, put it up. Free giveaway right now. Fuck it, free. I'm giving this away for free.
Hey, so watch another Gary Vee video. Hey. Thumbs up. Hey, I got a couple of thumbs up on the YouTube chat. Just checked in on y'all. Thank y'all. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Should I watch another Gary Vee joint? What? I'm sure. I ain't watched the highlights for Duke.
At AT&T, we can't guarantee avoiding spoilers.
You did! Half court shot for the win.
See what Gary Vee is saying about TikTok.
Fiverr. Find the right freelance service right away. So that's how we're growing so fast.
Yeah. You don't have to have any followers to have a post go viral. So the social media that I grew up on, you have to amass followers for anyone to see your stuff. What's happened in the last 12 months is the game is completely flipped. Now, even if you have no followers, your first post can get 10,000 views. If it's good, all of you give a shit about something. And if you make content about that on social media, that's free. That can be the gateway to a whole new world for you. But you just can't talk about it. You gotta start being about it. Gary Vee, how do I make money? Number one, I'm sure most of you have noticed that on TikTok, they've been pushing a lot more live shopping.
You in the back, you tell me.
How many of you are familiar with on TikTok? Tuning in, when you go through your For You page, you see somebody doing like a QVC thing, selling shit on TikTok. Raise your hand, I'm just trying to get a sense. Raise it high, I wanna get a sense. All right, good. The middle really fucks with it. What's the matter with y'all? You don't see it? So, for all of you, one of the biggest opportunities right now is TikTok Shop. Literally going to the dollar store or grabbing stuff that's laying around in your house, going live on TikTok and selling it. It is stunning to see what's going on with this right now. For many of you, another move would be, you got $20, you go to TJ Maxx, you buy 3 things for $20, you go on TikTok Shop, you sell those things for $50, you take that $50, you do it again and again and again and again. For the next year or two, anybody that goes live on TikTok, in a TikTok Shop, even if you have no followers, will start to reach people on TikTok, and that is a big arbitrage. That's a huge opportunity. And for this crew, obviously some people are gonna feel scared to go on camera or things of that nature, but anybody who is about that life, I could not recommend this more to you. It's a huge opportunity, and what you're gonna learn on it is really gonna impact you. Really gonna impact you. Couple other things. Content on social media. So the other thing that's going on social media right now from a business standpoint is you don't have to have any followers to have a post go viral. So the social media that I grew up on when you were little kids, you had to amass followers for anyone to see your stuff. I think that comes very natural to all of you. You understand that. What's happened in the last 12 months is the game is completely flipped. Now, even if you have no followers in here, your first post can get 10,000 views, if it's good. I was just talking to principal, I was talking to my team, this book right here that I just wrote, Day Trading Attention, just came out and really breaks it down. I just decided in the back room that I'm gonna send hundreds of books here of this book, so some of you can grab that shit. Don't clap. No clapping on that. Because if you don't read it, nothing's gonna happen. You can clap after you read it or you use it. Because another thing I'd love to talk to you about that I'm obsessed with, and again, isn't just a 15, 16, 17-year-old thing. It's a 20, 30-year-old thing. It's a 40, 50-year-old thing for the back, is we talk too much. People always talk about what you're gonna do. I need you to look at the people you're sitting with, your homies, always talking about what they're gonna do and not doing it. We need to shut our fucking mouths. And we need to start doing instead of talking. I promise you, nothing you want in your head right now, nothing you're hoping and dreaming to do for you and your family will ever happen if you just talk about it.
I hope y'all
People
hear
talk
this
about
on
things
TikTok,
and think they're doing it.
Yeah,
We talk too much.
right now, man.
So I appreciate the clapping. I know it came from a good place, but what would make me much happier is when I send them here and they're free and however the school's gonna do it, that you actually read it, but actually reading it is also not the game. Actually posting. You know this, teachers, parents, the media, they're all demonizing social media to y'all. And you know, you sit there and you watch it aimlessly all day, I get it, but guess what? Your parents, the teachers, we did the same shit, we just did it on television and magazines. The world's always the same. What's not the same is how you're gonna actually attack it. You can use social media just to waste your day, or you could use it as the biggest weapon in the world. If I had social media when I was your age, I promise you one thing, my mom and I laugh about this all the time, I would have never graduated high school. Not because I was bad or that was good or bad, but because if I had social media, I just would have built business after business after business, and I just wouldn't have been able to get there. I was doing it without the internet and social media in the analog world. So I would have definitely done it. My friends, kids, this is crazy. You understand the computer you have in your pocket, the phone, is a more powerful computer than Ronald Reagan had in the White House when he was the president of the United States. The world's changed. And you live in a time and era where everyone's trying to tell you what's wrong and what's not good. And meanwhile, you've never had more opportunity in your life. If you harness this stuff for good, for you, it will change your life. And so please do not buy into the negative and and choose optimism. No matter how deep the adversity is, I promise you, you're capable. And I get it. Listen, I'm sitting here giving the talk, and I'm literally thinking about kids sitting in the audience right now, listening to me, and they're like, whatever, can't, no, I don't see it. Maybe for you, bro, but not for me, all that shit. And what really motivates me to be here this morning is with the desperate hope that just one of you in this audience hears me. Just one.
Thank you.
I can't get all of you to believe what I'm saying. I just know the math of how this shit works. But if I can get one person in here to understand that everything you hear that tells you that you can't is fake, if one person realizes they can, whether they decide to go down TikTok shop, whether they decide to just post content about whatever you're interested in, no matter how chill or whatever you are in this room, all of you give a shit about something. Something. And if you make content about that on social media, that's free. That can be the gateway to a whole new world for you. You will learn. You will build community. It will be real. But you just can't talk about it. You gotta start being about it. I mean that. So many people view success from a money place, from a fame place, from a followers place, all the shit that's being put into your head from the outside world is confusing. And I say that because the only mark of success as you get older is just sheer happiness, simplicity, joy. When you're 17, when you're 15, when you're sitting in this room listening to me talk, you don't believe that shit as much. I get that. Even when you're 20 and 25 and 30, every day I get thousands of DMs that talk about, not believing that money isn't the unlock to happiness. 40, 50, 60-year-olds are confused and twisted on how to win life. For the kids in here that are overstressed about some fucking test this week, let me promise you, and this may not go over super well and I apologize, but I need this for the kids. Bad grades is not in your life.
Appreciate it, man.
How you do at school academically is not an indicator to your joy when you get older. Of course, learning how to be disciplined and doing shit, that matters, right? But we worry about stuff that ends up not mattering, especially at this age. Of course, for many of you in this room, getting good grades is your way out, is your way to build. And if it comes natural to you, that's remarkable. But for everybody in this room, please understand a couple things. Life is very different than school. Very different than school. Again, I don't want to leave here and all of a sudden B students become F students and they blame me for that shit. I'm not trying to get that heat. But what I do want is for everybody here to understand what you need to extract out of school to prep you for real life. Extracting out of school things like being comfortable with being uncomfortable. Like, I'm aware that not everybody wants to go to this class or that class. It's Monday morning. I'm aware that for a lot of people, last night was a tough night because you didn't want to come in the next day. You lived for Friday. Real talk, that was me. When I sat where you're sitting right now, I hated school. I was a bad student. But what I learned in school really mattered to what makes me happy today. One of the biggest issues in the world, not just for kids, but for the grown-ups in the back, is that we've lost our way with dealing with adversity. The world has lost its way with dealing with adversity. We've become soft. We've become incapable of dealing with things that don't come easy. One of the great things to learn during your 4 years here is getting through the things that are not as easy. If one kid in this room leaves this talk excited about eating shit, meaning literally being comfortable with getting through stuff that doesn't come easy, my mission will be accomplished here. Life has challenges. It gets complicated. I'm sure it's not lost on a crew like this. There's a lot of high schools that I could visit where the kids have not faced anywhere close to the level of adversity that this room has. That is ultimately, for most of you, your strength. Me growing up in a family that had little, and me having to work when I was in high school, after school, every weekend, every summer vacation, that became the foundation of my happiness. In a world where I'm sure a lot of you can look at others and see how they have it easier or how they have it better, I'm excited for y'all to get older eventually and recognize how this chapter was the foundation, how this was the moment. Honestly, I want to go into Q&A. One, work a job for someone that's already in that business because they're going to pay you to learn. Even if it's a shitty job, even if you're getting very little, if you go work for somebody for a year that's in the general idea, do you have your business idea? Not yet. So I think first to start a business without an idea is crazy. That's like driving with your eyes closed. So first try to figure out, but if a lot of you are trying to think about starting a business, I would highly recommend starting with something you like. So if you like sneakers, sneaker business. If you like music, music business. If you like cooking, like business is hard as shit. Like don't let entrepreneurs on Instagram confuse you. It's hard. So if you're gonna do something hard, you might as well like it. If you like it, you might actually do it for 12 hours a day. If you're doing it just for the money, you will quit. So first do something around something you like and then consider working for somebody for a year while you're building your business at night because you need to learn because you're so young and you don't have experience yet. Got you, my man. It's gonna be the biggest technology that impacts every kid in this room. AI is massive. It's such a big deal. But we shouldn't treat it negatively or overly positive. It will be in the middle like everything else. My man, you know one thing, right now a lot of people are scared of AI, as you probably are aware. I was in a meeting the other day and I educated somebody. By the way, back to my high school career, I don't know who the history teacher is in here, but that was the one class that I was really good at. And I was always interested in it. And I use it a lot in business now. Let me give you all a history lesson. Right now, everyone's scared of AI and saying how bad it is and how it's gonna ruin the world. When electricity was invented, almost 80% of the people's opinion on electricity was that it had demons inside of it, and they did not bring electricity into their home. They continued to use candles because they thought it was bad. Let me give you a lesson that I want you to take with your whole life. Remember this will help you. Humans always pick the negative when new shit comes up. That is where the actual opportunity is. You understand? Humans, and for the rest of your life, all of you, good news, you were born at the right time. Y'all are gonna live to like 120. What? So you're gonna live for a while, God willing.
Oh man, false.
Remember this for the next 100 years of your life, especially if you're an entrepreneur or business person. Humans, when new big technologies come, will always look at the negative. That is where the opportunity is. I think AI is gonna change the world in a significant way. You know how they talk about AI taking people's jobs away? The tractor, the farm tractor, when it was invented, 80% of the people on earth worked on farms. It didn't put everybody out of business. It allowed humans to do bigger and more important things.
False.
AI is gonna allow, there are kids in this room, my guy, who are gonna change the world because of AI, because they were born at the right time as AI was building. AI is gonna allow us to be better, to be bigger, to do more things, and I'm excited about it. But it's got a long way to go, and there's gonna be a lot of confusion along the way, but keep digging into it. There's a lot of opportunity there. You know, it's really funny you asked me that. Besides health, besides health, do you know what the number one thing I wished for every kid in this room right now? The ability to not give a shit about what anybody else in the room thinks of them.
For Gwendolyn!
So the way I deal with burnout is by realizing that whatever I'm struggling with,
For Sabrina!
that anybody else's opinion on it doesn't matter. I think a lot of you would be very surprised how much of your anxiety or burnout comes because it's grounded in you worrying about what other people are going to think about the thing. Whether that's your teacher, whether that's your parents, or worst of all, whether it's your classmates' judgment on you. So the way I deal with burnout or when I'm struggling is to take a step back and recalibrate my perspective on the situation. Right? I'll give you an example of something I really struggle with. I struggle when my company has to fire someone. To me, it's out of all the things I do for a living, the idea that I have to fire someone crushes me because I'm sad. I know that they're going to have to deal with it, right? And sometimes that can overwhelm me when it's at scale, but I have to take a step back and realize that it's my ego talking because the person on the other side is capable of getting another job. Maybe they're going to get a way better job. Maybe they're going to get paid more. And so I think just taking a moment, and I'm not worried about what people think about my firing. That's what makes it palpable for me. So the way I deal with burnout is perspective and understanding. You know, I play a trick in my mind. It might work for you, which is I'm the only person that lives on Earth, and thus nobody else can say anything about it, and I just got to keep moving forward. And so I keep things very simple. I think gratitude really helps me a lot. When I'm really struggling, I just think about the fact that my family is okay and that whatever I'm dealing with right now, if that was okay, but my family was sick or hurt or worst of all died, what would that mean? And then all of a sudden the thing I'm worried about gets really small. And so I use gratitude and perspective, which is why I don't sit in burnout or negativity or anxiety very long. I'm a human, it pops up, but I have coping mechanisms to attack it, and it's based on gratitude and perspective. I think it's fake.
Gratitude and perspective.
I don't know what else to tell you. Like, I promise you, people have had it way worse than you. I got one. I am on the board of a nonprofit called Charity Water. What we do for a living is we build wells in Africa and parts of Asia so that people can get clean water. As we sit in this auditorium this morning, there are 800 million people on Earth, almost 10% of Earth. 800 million people on Earth that can't drink a glass of clean water within 24 hours because the water's that far away from them. What do I do to give someone advice here that's at wit's end and think they can't? For them to realize how good they have it. For you to realize how good you have it. The world has so much adversity. And I think that people have to choose optimism versus negativity. No matter how, somebody in this room has the most fucked up situation. Somebody in this room, if we ask 50 people to analyze everybody's life in here, somebody has it worse. With their parents, the financial situation, could be something, alcoholic parent, like could have it fucked up. Somebody has it worse. But for that person in this room, there's billions of people that have it worse. You live in America. And to me, that should make people happy, not sad, and make you realize you can. How many people have a phone? Raise your hand. Real talk. How many people have a phone? Every one of those people can. The whole fucking world's in here. So, yeah, I mean, I think, look, like anything in life, not anything is going to work right away, right? Just like I'm sure the first time you, like, think about the things that you do well. The first time that you did them, you might have not done them well, right? So just because what you sold the first couple times you did it didn't do well, doesn't mean that the next thing you won't sell as well. What TikTok will tell you, what we see is finding something unique One of the reasons I like people selling stuff around the house is it's unique. It's not something they bought at a flea market or things of that nature. The other thing you can start doing, and I don't know how much money you would have to do this, but over time, buying unique things in China and shipping it in is a real play. But the number one thing that they say works is under $30, and you can't find it on Amazon. Under $30 and not easily found on Amazon tend to over-index on TikTok Shop. So Ivy League school wasn't for me, but Ivy League school is one of the best brands in the world. Let there be no confusion, my friends. If you go to Harvard or Yale or Princeton, when you get out, it creates real opportunity. To me, Ivy League school is, you know how earlier I said practical? Learn HVAC, be a plumber, do stuff. I like practical. To me, bro, Ivy League schools are practical. If you can get into one of those motherfuckers, go there. Because if you go there, when you come out on the other side, the business world, the world, looks at you different and you've got leverage. The problem with college right now is the schools that are not Ivy League schools are losing leverage. It matters less than it did when we were growing up. But for Ivy League schools, if you can get there, now by the way, I need you to hear this very carefully. Other schools not named Ivy still will work for so many of you. It's just, you've got to understand how it is. One of the things I worry about, for example, is debt. College debt is scary to me. A lot of kids choose to go to a slightly better school and take on the debt versus going to a school slightly lower where you get a full ride. I always tell kids, take the second one, because that debt is too scary to me. And I think the education is negligible in comparison to the debt. But bro, Ivy League schools, if anyone here can get into one of those things, go. What can schools do? They can stop being ideological and political and like thinking about yesterday, and they can start focusing on tomorrow. When I hear that we're gonna teach kids practical skills that they can live their life, that excites me. Listen,
What do you see?
for a couple kids in here that are deeply into science and are gonna work for SpaceX, like knowing what's going on with Saturn and Mars right now matters. For 99% of us in this room, it does not. And so I think schools need to do a better job to be practical, because being practical actually is putting the kids in this room into a position to make something happen. And so I'm very motivated and very inspired by what this school is trying to do. For example, all these schools are now demonizing ChatGPT, right? They should be teaching prompt engineering in class. What do you want these kids to do? You don't want them to write their papers in ChatGPT? I get it. The problem is ChatGPT is weird. I gave the same talk 20 years ago about search engines. They didn't want kids to use search engines. I did this shit about calculators. Remember when they didn't want kids to fucking use calculators? What do you want? You want these kids to memorize shit that doesn't matter for a week for a test and then forget it for the rest of their lives? We need more fucking practicality. That's what we need. Bro, procrastination is just an indication that you don't like it. Procrastination, I procrastinate everything I don't like, and I go hard at everything I do like. This goes back to the beginning of the talk. What you're gonna learn in this time in your life at school and at home is getting through shit that you don't like. You're not gonna fix procrastination on your homework if you don't wanna fucking do homework. What you need to do is just learn how to get through it. That grind, like procrastination is just an indicator to what's in your soul. I promise you're not procrastinating on stuff you like. Procrastination is showing you the truth of what's in you. You're not gonna fix procrastination. There's no fixing procrastination. What you can work on is discipline and getting into a mental place where you know you just have to do shit to get to the next place, and that's how you have to just address it. You gotta start practicing being comfortable with not liking shit. It's a mindset thing. Gotcha. What would I do if I had to start from zero? What would be my first step? My first step would be what I just told you all before. The number one thing, if I had to start at zero, that I would do is make content on social media.
Word.
My friends,
Great
it's
advice.
great. Again,
Great
it's
advice.
so fun because I don't do this with high school kids that often. I do it in business environments. I know how much people are telling you social's bad. Social's the best if you know how to use it. Everything is good and bad. Everything is good and bad. So what I would do is I would make content on social media because it's free and I would be starting at zero. And one piece of content could change my whole game. What would be a plan to start? I'm gonna send you a free book called Day Trading Attention. You're gonna read that shit and you're gonna be off to the fucking races. It's one of the two most important things. Let me explain. I'm really good at marketing. I've done it my whole life. I have one of the biggest marketing companies in the world. 3 weeks ago, we met with a company. They wanted to give us millions of dollars to do the marketing. We had a great meeting. When the meeting was over, I called the CEO and I said, bro, you need to wait a year or two before you hire us because your product sucks. The most important thing in business is marketing is only true if your product is good. If your product is ass, all that marketing does is speed up the process of all of us knowing that it's shit, and then you go out of business quicker. You understand? It's one of the two most important things. Product quality is number one, then getting people to know about it. Marketing is number two.
So how do you want to reach the audience of your product?
The way you reach audience today, in my opinion, is social media. It's the lowest cost way to reach people. Obviously, there's a lot of ways. If you've got paper, then do a Super Bowl commercial. You'll reach 120 million Americans in one day. But for the people that have smaller budgets here, or starting their own little things, I could not recommend social media more, especially organic. You don't even have to pay for ads. Oh man, business is sports. Business is the UFC. I've had so many businesses fail, brother. My man, I've had so many businesses fail. Do you know that 95% of businesses fail? So to me, it's like, I'm a little bit of a sicko when it comes to this. Like, I enjoy the loss. Like, you've got to get to a place where you enjoy the losing. Like, it's okay. And again, notice what I just told her earlier. If you don't worry about what your homies think about your loss, then all of a sudden you're moving, right? So it's just part of the game, brother. It's the way it is. There's no choice. There's no undefeated entrepreneur, brother. And honestly, this is gonna make you happy. The more you lose early on, the more you learn the shit that fucked it up so that you don't do it. So losing now is a lot better than losing in your 40s and 50s. So look at them as battle scars that are good. Similar to that young dude right there when we talked about the product and the marketing, the answer is both. But if I had to answer you and you said, no, you've got to pick one, I literally think the psychology. Anybody in this room that is interested in psychology and all that stuff, I get a sense that that's where you're at. I could not push you more to go into that field. It is very valuable. As technology, back to my man talking about AI, as technology keeps getting bigger, the emotional intelligence and psychology will become more valuable. And so if that comes natural to you or you're interested in it, I would highly recommend pursuing it. You got it? So that's a great question. So that doesn't stop you from emailing every sports organization in New York City, including the big ones like the Brooklyn Nets or another high school's team. If you want it, you can go and grab it. Kids, I need you to listen to this one because this is right here, the whole fucking thing about life. She asked such a great question. She's like, look, here's all I can do. She can choose and say, oh shit, I got unlucky. There's not enough sports teams here and I can't get it. And she could give up and decide to come up with an excuse of why she can't. Or, and I believe she will, or she can hear me and understand everything is in your control. My friends, you want a good life? You want to be happy? Forget about Ivy League schools. Forget about being an entrepreneur. Forget about everything. If you want to be happy, actually happy, let me promise you one thing. The second you realize in your beautiful heads that you are in control of everything, regardless of what you look like, where you came from, and what's going on in the world, the second you actually believe that shit is the second your whole life changes. And so what do I say to you? Go out and get it. If they don't have it, you can find someone who does. That's it.